Hello, I hope you are doing well. My name is Kaitlin Moose and I'm bringing you a little moose moment, aka no editing, which I'll get to why that in a bit. But yeah, I wanted to just talk today about things I take for granted, and maybe you do too, maybe you can relate. I was thinking about this idea for Thanksgiving. Obviously it was last week, and I think a lot of people do videos on what to be thankful for. I've had a video on what to be thankful for. That was back when I was living in LA. But I wanted to take it a step further and say, it's not only that I'm thankful for them, but I take them for granted and should be remembering to be thankful for them. But I think a lot of times we don't. So when I was coming up with ideas for this, the first thing that popped into my mind was hot water. Because when I took my first solo trip to India, there were some hotels where we stayed that didn't have hot water. And I quickly learned how much I take that for granted, because it is really hard to dump your head behind in some cold water showers. It's really difficult to put your head back there and be like, no, long enough to, wash shampoo out. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by, I came outside and now there are all these big trucks going by. Things you take for granted. Nice sounds outdoors. But so hot water, I told myself after that trip that I would never take hot water for granted again. And have I? Probably. But it's definitely always stuck with me, because it just had such a huge impact that, come to think of it, you don't even just take hot water for granted. I take running water for granted. I take access to clean water for granted. I don't have to go walk miles with a bucket and go to a well and get a couple gallons and drag them back to my family and ration it out for us. That's not our lives. So it became kind of silly to do this list of things I take for granted, because the answer is everything. I take everything for granted. And, that's food, water, your health. So the reason I had this as a no edit and just something else that I take for granted was I had computer problems a few weeks ago. Yes, my computer crashed, and it was right after the Reformation video that I did, which had a lot of edits. And that was so difficult to edit, to get through the edit, because my mouse was going all over the place. It's jumping around. It was opening windows that I hadn't touched, and it was just incredibly difficult to work with, even though I knew what I wanted to do. It's like my computer wasn't cooperating. And eventually it crashed, and Apple couldn't fix it. I went like 2 days, and I don't know if you've ever waited for the Genius Bar, but that in and of itself is a fun adventure. And I eventually, they said they couldn't fix it, and I was going to be stuck getting a $2,500 new computer, and plus I would lose the editing software, so another $300 for that. And as you can imagine, I was freaking out a little bit. And thankfully, my mom and I actually found a place that, I'm not sure exactly how it works, but it's affiliated with Apple, but it's not an Apple store, but they work on Apple repairs. So the end of the story is that my computer is fixed temporarily. You can tell it's still going to go soon, so I don't know how much longer I have with it. As you can tell, I got a few more edited videos online, so I was happy with that. But and I don't think I lost any information, because I did have it on a backup drive. Always back up your data. I can't stress it enough. But yeah, so that being something that I take for granted, particularly because I think just like modern life or an entrepreneurial job, creating videos, if that was my main focus, how do I do that without a computer? So I came up with the idea to have, videos from your phone and test that out to see if it was feasible. I'm so used to editing myself so I don't have to pay attention to how I speak, because my thoughts are all over the place and I mess up my words. So we'll see how this no edit thing goes. But then a few days ago, I was Christmas shopping with my mom, and my phone fell out of my purse and just shattered. I've never had that happen to a phone before. I hear it happens with iPhone all the time. And I was just looking at my phone like, what? And not only that, as I was getting the pictures off of it so that we could go to the Verizon store, there was this inky black mass coming across the screen. So anyways, in like less than 12 hours, my whole screen was black and I couldn't access anything on the phone. So that was great. I'm so happy I was able to get the pictures off. Crisis averted. Back up your data. And yeah, so that being just another thing that I take for granted is having this technology that I have this love-hate relationship with, but I still take all of the amazing things that it offers us for granted. And so, yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. But thankfully, as you can tell, since I'm recording from it, I have a new phone now. And let me know what you think of it. Is it good? Good quality? I don't know. But yeah, so the answer really was just that I take everything for granted. And that was especially true with like my health. That's something I never think about until I'm sick or something's gone wrong. And then I'm like, why wasn't I happier with how I was before? Because it's so easy to get caught up in like, oh, I want to lose weight or I want to hit this fitness mark or whatever. And I wish I did a lot more appreciating of where I'm at right now. So that's kind of goals for 2018. But speaking of New Year's resolutions or something. And along with health would be mobility, which I think sounds a little silly coming from someone as young as me, not that I'm like a teenager anymore, but a lack of mobility is something that I've been thinking about recently. Obviously with my fitness, I've been trying to do splits that I haven't done since like kindergarten, and just doing a lot of stretches and realizing the limitations of my body. I'm going to a chiropractor, working on posture and those kinds of things, and it's just amazing how everything works together. And I really feel the limitations. So mobility is something that I don't want to take for granted. I always think about my grandmother had contracted polio at a very young age. And so by the time I knew her, her legs were in braces and she was walking with a cane. Now she's in a scooter. But I ran cross country in high school, and I would always tell myself, it doesn't matter the pain because your grandmother can't walk. And there are people who can't walk. So who are you to complain? And that's kind of something that I want to bring to my attention again, is even though I'm facing all these limitations or perceived limitations of what I would like out of myself for mobility and flexibility, just being appreciative of all that I do have and am able to work on and have the opportunity to work on. So, yes, I've been thinking about that. I'm like deep breathing because we're going deep. But, speaking of health would be the health of family and friends. I'm so lucky that I get to spend time with my parents right now and that they are both healthy. I have a lot of friends already that have lost one or both parents, and I just absolutely want to appreciate the time that I have with them now and really value our time together. So that would be something that I really try not to take for granted. But so again, I was going to have this list of kind of things like the hot water, but it just turned into everything. I take everything for granted, and maybe you do too. And especially as we're just finishing Thanksgiving and going into the holiday season, I thought maybe you would be interested in this kind of thing too, of reflecting back on your life and things that we could be a lot more appreciative of. And this loud car. Whoa! Having a means of transportation. Very lucky. Okay, so say I'm upset about that. My hearing. I can hear that. To be annoyed by it. It's amazing. I completely take that for granted. Yeah, so I'll end it there, but especially as we wind down 2017 and I think people are taking inventory of their lives, I just wanted to say that for myself and for an audience that I speak to, that a lot of you are high achievers as well, and we're always like wanting more or don't feel like our lives are enough or we're not being productive enough. I really want to concentrate on being thankful for what I have now, because I don't think you can really cultivate more in your life if you're not appreciative of what you already have. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'd love to hear your comments down in the comment section. Let's have a chat it on up, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.